In this video, I'm going to discuss about the next method, redirection, or we call it as send redirect. Another method, another technology we can use to work with more than one servlet, right? This method is widely used with, let's say you are going to, I will explain it by using a real world application. Let's say you are going to buy something from a commercial web application, let's say AliExpress, right? Then to purchase something, you have to pay, right? To pay, you have to use a payment gateway or a different web domain, right? Now you are going to access to a different domain from one domain to another. But previous example, we are staying at the same domain. The same domain means same website. In previous example, we are stay in the same domain and using different or two servlets. But in some cases, we have to use more than one domain to do a task, right? Uh, I will take the previous example. To purchase something from AliExpress. You are visiting to AliExpress, then select some items, then add to cart, and you are going to purchase. Then you have to pay. For the payment, you have to redirect to the different domain. Right? Let's say PayPal, you have to redirect it. Right? In this scenario, we can use send redirect. Right? Okay, let's have a look at on how you can implement send redirect or URL rewriting with Java servlets, right? Again, I'm using the previous previous simple example. This is the interface. It collects two data fields, and add calculate or add two numbers, and from this servlet, I'm going to print it or display it on the client side. I'm using the same example, but in this video, I'm using another method. We call it as URL rewriting or send redirect. Okay, let's have a look at on how you can do it. I will comment out the previous code. Now I'm not using request dispatcher. Therefore, I have commented it. If you are not using request dispatcher, then the set attribute method is not needed, no longer needed for our example. Therefore, I have commented out all of these lines, and also in this case, uh, no longer needed of these few code lines, right? Then let's have a look at on how you can do it with rewriting, send redirect or URL rewriting. Okay, again, I'm using here uh, the response object, right? With the response object, it comes with a special method called send redirect. Yes, send redirect. Okay. With this method, I can pass the new URL. What is the new URL we used before? / display. With this method, I can change the URL. Okay, now when I come to this location, if I execute this code, this will change the URL to display. Let's save this, and let's have a look at on how what will happen. For now, I will again remove the comment of these few code lines to explanation, right? I have changed this servlet. I'm using response object, and it comes with a special method called send redirect. With this one, I can change the URL. In real world application, you can change this to paypal.com. We are using a separate domain. Therefore, you can replace this URL as paypal.com or something, right? Okay, I will run this program on Tomcat server, and let's see. Let's have a look at on what is the output. right? The service starting, right? This is the website. Then I have to add two numbers and click on submit. What will happen? See, the URL is changed. Okay, it's fine. Then there's an error. What it calls HTTP method get is not supported by this URL. HTTP method get is not supported by this URL, and it says HTTP status code 405. What will happen when I click on this submit button? When I click on this submit button, uh, it will change the URL to add. It will change the URL to add, and from this XML file, this add.servlet will be executed. Inside that, from this one, I can change the URL to display. Then it again comes back to the web.xml, and with this URL mapping, this will be executed, right? It comes here. Then here I'm asking an attribute, but from this servlet, I'm not sending any attribute here, right? I'm not sending an attribute here to extract data from get attribute method. That is why it shows an error. I will comment out this line and simply add some console message system.out.println, and inside that I'm saying uh, display servlet is executed, and go back to project and run on server and select Tomcat. This is only for the testing purposes, right? Okay, I will go to the project and start again the server with this project and go back to the browser, and we'll check what will happen when I enter two numbers and click on submit button. Okay, this is the updated one. Then I will enter two numbers and click on submit. Now, this time I'm not getting any error, and URL is changed accordingly. When I check the console, see, we can see display servlet is executed. What is mean by display servlet is executed? It means we are redirect to the display servlet, and this method is successfully executed. All right. Now the first half of our task is completed. Now, when I click on the submit button, the data will be going to the add.save servlet through this web.xml file, and perform this operation and redirect or the change the URL with this given URL. And with this web.xml file will execute this display server. This is the evidence for that, right? This is the evidence for that. Then let's think about, or before that, I will show you a magic here, right? Still, we cannot get any response. Right? Still, we cannot get any response here. What happened when I say from this servlet, I will comment out this file and uncomment these two lines. Comment out this line and uncomment these two lines. And instead of getting attribute, I will say int total equals request dot get parameter. Here, why I am doing I'm using this get parameter method. Here is, as I did before, here also I'm using get parameter, because from this form I'm getting this data as parameter. So I'm getting this data with the URL, right? That is why I'm using here get parameter. I'm using the same method in from this display servlet. Get parameter, then I can say total as did in before, as total, right? Then here this one is returning an object, sorry, string. Then I have to convert it to a integer variable, integer value. Then here I can say integer dot get, sorry, integer dot pass it, integer dot pass it. In this way, I can convert this to an integer object, integer dot pass it. Right? Then this will convert this value to an integer and stored inside this total variable. And from this way, I can print it on the uh, client side, or on the browser of the client side. I will save this and go back to browser, and refresh and refresh and enter two numbers and click on submit. Again, I have got an error. Why? Now it say java.lang.number format exception. Number format exception. Here I'm going to extract data from parameter from the URL, updated URL, but still the updated URL is not included any value here. Updated URL is not included in value, just changing the URL, right? I will make some changes in front of this URL. I will add question mark and say total equals 5. When I press enter, what will happen? It shows the result, right? From this servlet, I'm going to extract data and print that data on the browser interface, right? In browser, I can change the URL manually. Then when I press enter, the result is displayed on the console, on the client side. What happened? This is manually changed. This is not good for a real world application. Then there should be a mechanism to update these values according to the calculated value of this servlet. Here, what are the changes I made here? I have added a question mark, then the variable name or the parameter name as total, and giving a equal sign, then the value. What happened if I change this, make these changes to the URL before redirect it? If I added question mark, then total equals, then I can enter, or I can pass total here as a string, let's say. I think the type conversion is not needed. Automatically, this will convert to a string, right? Here, what I did was I will redirect it with the URL, and with the URL, I'm passing the value. I will save these changes, and let's have a look at on what happened when I rerun this on the server. I'm selecting Tomcat and restart the server. Go back to browser. This is the previous results. You have to wait. Okay. The program is running. I enter two numbers here and click on submit. This time I can get the actual results and you can see the URL is changed accordingly. When I enter two numbers, different two numbers, then click on submit, I can get the updated results. But it means the program is run without any doubt. Here I'm using URL rewriting. Right? I'm using the method URL rewriting, or we call it as send redirect. Right? Then I will explain this one more time. What will happen here is when you click on this form, the data will be go to the web.xml file with the URL. Then the URL is /a add. It means this servlet will be executed and do its operations and change the URL with the calculated value, right? Change the URL with the calculated value and see, redirect it. Redirect means this URL is again go back to the client side and making a new request and come to the server side as a new request, brand new request. And from the web.xml file, we'll catch this URL and map into this servlet 2 and execute this display servlet here and do this task and finally send the results to the client side. Right? This is the thing what happened when we use redirect. All right. Okay, I will discuss, I will explain the theory parts behind the previous example. We did in a previous video, we did request dispatcher. In this video, we used redirection, URL rewriting method to call a servlet from another servlet, right? I will explain the theory part behind this one and this one with a diagram. What are the similarities? What are the similarities and what are the differences? Right. Okay. First, I will explain about the request dispatcher. This is good for what kind of web applications? Only staying in a single domain. Only staying in a single web domain or web URL. Right. Request dispatcher first. Request dispatcher. What happened here is this is the client side. This is the server side. Now we have two servlets, servlet 1 and servlet 2. In our example, what is the servlet 1? It is add servlet. Servlet 2 is display servlet. This is add servlet. This is display servlet. Right? When I make a request to the servlet 1, or in other words, when I click on this submit button, it will make a request with these two parameters, number 1 and number 2. When I make a request from the server, it goes to the server 1 directly with request 1 and response 1, right? And do this task, and after calculating the summation, for the previous example, it says request dispatcher and add new attribute to the same request object and forward it to the next servlet, right? It uses same object. Same object means same request one object and response one object. Same objects are using in both times. right? Same objects are using, and the request will be sent from servlet 1 to servlet 2 by itself. As the client, it doesn't know what happened inside the server side, because the URL is, or the request is sent or forwarded to the servlet 2 by the servlet 1. Then do the operation in the servlet 2, and final response will become, again it uses the same object to send the response to the client side. In all of these scenarios, it uses same object, right? From the client side, the client doesn't know from where this response comes from, right? It's from servlet 1 or servlet 2. The client doesn't know, right? The redirection part is not the redirection, request dispatcher, or the sending data from servlet 1 to servlet 2 is doing by itself or by the servlet 1, and produce a final result and send it back to the client side. This is what happened in the request dispatcher technology. When we talk about the URL rewriting or redirection or URL rewriting, what happened here is, again we have the client, then servlet 1 and servlet 2. This is good for more than one domain. Let's say this is AliExpress, this is PayPal, right? When we use redirection or URL rewriting, when client send a request to the main server, it goes to the servlet 1. In our example, we have two servlets. First one for add servlet, second one for display. It uses response 1 and request 1 object. It uses two objects, so request 1 and response 1. The data will be sent with the request object, and from the servlet 1 it extracts data. From the servlet 1 it extracts data and do some calculation, and along with this calculation it changes the URL and send it to the client side as a response. In this time, this servlet will pass a response to the client side with the response 1 object, right? From the client side browser, by the client side browser, it creates another request and response, a brand new request and response with this data, and send it back to the second URL or the second domain. Now it uses new request object and response object. New request object, request 2 and response 2. Based on this request, do some operation and produce a response and send it back to the client side as the response 2. In previous case, URL rewriting, same objects are using with different scenarios or different servlets. Client send the request, it goes to the servlet 1, do some operation, and URL is changed, and the data and the half partially completed task is sent it to the or forwarded to the servlet 2 by the servlet 1, and final results will be produced by the servlet 2 and send it back to the client side as the response with the previous object, response 1. But in URL rewriting, what happened here is when I make a request to the servlet 1 or the server 1, it goes to the server 1 and perform some operation and produce a response and send it back to the client side. Then from the client-side browser, it creates or it accepts this response and automatically created another request and sent to the second domain, right? Second servlet or the second server, a different domain, and go there and perform the operation and produce the final result and send it back to the client side. In this time, the client know where this response is comes from, right? In previous case, a client don't know. Client doesn't know where from where this response one object is come. But in this time, the client know where this response to is comes from because in browser it shows the URL rewriting or redirection message on the browser, right? This is what we call URL rewriting. This is good for more than one domain we are using, especially for some payment gateways. We have the main website, as you say, AliExpress. When we make some payment, we can use this method because for the payment, we have to use a different payment gateway or the different domain, right? And that scenario, we can use this technology. This is the difference between URL rewriting and request dispatcher. Both codes are available in this example. I will share this code with you through the LMS, then you can go through it and get a better idea, right? There are we have two more methods to do this task. The first one is HTTP session management. Second one is cookies. Using in both cases, we can do the same thing. This is URL rewriting. Totally, we have four methods to do to call uh, a servlet from another servlet. First one is request dispatcher. Second one is redirection. Under the redirection, we have another two methods. First one is HTTP session management. HTTP session management. Second one is cookies. Right? From next video, we can discuss about these two concepts. How to use these two concepts with URL rewriting.